Sarah to introduce herself in today's event.
Thank you, Michelle. Hi, everybody. Welcome in. Thank you so much for joining us today. As Michelle said, my name is Felicia Bellier. I am the Workforce Talent Manager. We are thrilled to have you here with the amazing TurboTaxLive team. Right now, TurboTaxLive is in the process of hiring not one, not two, not even 20, but 1,000 new remote tax pros. And if that wasn't exciting enough, Workforce's own digital engagement coordinator is coming on screen soon to share a big announcement with you about how you can snag one of those 1,000 available roles. This is your last chance in 2024 to break into this flexible, remote career in tax. No experience required. We're sharing all of the details, tips, and support that you need to succeed. So, who are we talking with today? All right, Katie Castillo, our Workforce Digital Engagement Coordinator. She's giving you guys a little wave now. We also have the lovely Arti. Arti has been with us before, but she is our Intuit Learner Engagement and Success Senior Project Program Manager. Excuse me. Her title is a little bit of a mouthful, but she has been with us before. She is always a gem. Thank you so much for being with us, Arti. And last but definitely not least, James has joined us again this week. He is our TurboTaxLive lead recruiter. He is bringing us all of the ins and the outs on how to get hashtag hired with Intuit. So, as Michelle was saying, our icebreaker. Where are you from? And what emoji would you use to describe yourself? If you'd like to come on screen, raise your virtual Zoom hand and let us know. Otherwise, we're going to start with just a few of our internal team members. So, Katie,
I'll
if
go
you had
ahead
to
and
describe
go.
yourself, what emoji would you be?
So I'm coming from Northern Washington, and I think everybody on the team can attest. I would either be the green check mark or that little clipboard with the to-do list, because I'm a list maker, and like in my personal life and professional life, I'm a list maker and a doer.
This is accurate. Katie is for sure a doer. She gets things done. She checks things off. Thank you so much, Katie. Let's see, Arti, if you had to describe yourself with a emoji, what emoji would you be, Arti?
That's funny. Probably like the little like confetti party hat thing, because I feel like
Yes.
I'm always very excited. So that's probably it, like 95% of the time.
I love it. That actually, the little bit that I know about you from what we do working together, that suits you pretty well. I love that. Thank you so much. Michelle, you want to go?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the situational emoji today. I would be the pregnant lady emoji because I'm delivering a little baby boy on December the 4th. So I get to claim that one at this time in my life. So I am the tummy holding emoji.
I love it. Yes, we are so thrilled to welcome a new little Workforce team member this winter. A
Thank
little baby
you.
boy. So thank you guys so much for coming on screen. I know we've got a ton of people in the chat dropping their emojis and where they're from. We will move right along. Thank you so much for joining us today. So first, we're bringing on our very own Katie Castillo. If you've participated in the boot camps before or communicated with in any of our Facebook groups, you've probably engaged with Katie at a time or two. So, Katie, do you want to share our big announcement?
Yes, I do. I'm really excited. So, due to incredible demand from the community and success of the program, we're announcing that we're offering one more boot camp this year that starts today to help you go from no tax experience to hashtag hired.
We are absolutely thrilled. So, Katie, can you give us the rundown? What are we doing in this boot camp? What is boot camp like? Why has it been successful?
Yes, so this is the third one that we've done this year. And like I said, it's designed to take you from no tax experience at all to #hired with Intuit at TurboTax. So we have a weekly syllabus, study resources and guides, a super supportive study group. We'll have 2 office hour meetings, 2 Intuit application interview prep calls, and recruiter connect calls that we connect you with James at TurboTax. It's designed to give you hands-on help, guidance, direct connections with the VertForce team and with Intuit to help you on your way to starting your new career.
I love that. I have to say, one of my favorite things about this bootcamp, outside of interacting with the Intuit team themselves, is our supportive chat. Every time I log in, somebody is encouraging somebody else. Somebody is telling somebody how they are doing, congratulating somebody else on passing, on getting hired. It is so amazing to see and to hear the camaraderie in that chat. It is one of my absolute favorite parts of this bootcamp. So,
Mine
Katie,
too. Mine too.
if they were able to, if they're on this call today and they want to get hired before the end of the year, are they still able to join and do so?
Yes. So if you RSVP'd for this event, you have signed up for bootcamp. If you haven't RSVP'd for the event, you can sign up today. We can drop that link in the chat and you can sign up and we'll send you out all the resources that you need when you do sign up for it. And we have sort of condensed this bootcamp to help you get the tax level 1 and tax preparer badges and your application in by the end of October. Because the new entry level roles are starting in December. And while I do want to say, like, while finishing the course and getting your application in by October, the end of October is the goal, like, don't stress. It is totally okay if you don't finish by then. There's still plenty of opportunities to get hired by Intuit after that as well.
So this sounds sort of like an express boot camp, right?
Yeah. Yes,
Awesome.
exactly.
So for the people who are on this call, I'm sure they're out there wondering, how successful has this been?
So this is the good stuff. I'm actually looking at my notes and I get to say that my notes are wrong because as of yesterday, we've had 8 boot campers hired at TurboTax so far since August. And we've had significantly more than that finished boot camp. So I'm pretty sure that number is higher. I just haven't been told. But it's been really successful. And to be honest, I expect that number to grow pretty high in the next couple of weeks because we've had quite a few more boot campers just finish up this week and quite a few of them in the hiring process right now. So I expect to get some good news hopefully in the next couple of weeks for them. And this is a good time to mention, like I said, that I think that number is really high or higher than what I already know. But VertForce advocates for you as one of our candidates. So if you're applying or have applied, that's you, let me know because that's how I know that you've applied and that's how I know to advocate for you. So make sure you're emailing me at resumes@vertforce.us so that I can make sure to connect you with James and make sure to help follow along in the hiring process and get you as prepped as I can.
Yeah, I just want
So
to say kudos, Katie, because you guys, she works so hard to get our military spouses and veterans through the training and into the application pipeline. So thank you, Katie. Great job. And thank you to
Thank
Intuit
you.
for creating this pathway.
Yeah.
thank
Yeah,
you so much, Katie.
It's been so awesome for me. Like I said, every time I get one of those #hired emails, or we got one yesterday in the group chat, like Felicia was talking about, and it is just so awesome to see all these military spouses and veterans getting hired over there. It's been really fun for me. So thank you.
Katie is for sure the person you want to have in your corner. If you are going down this pathway, make sure that you have her email address jotted down, saved, typed in your notes in your cell phone, wherever you know that you are going to save it. Michelle dropped that in the chat. That is resumes@vertforce.us. Resumes@vertforce.us. Let's give Katie some love, show her some love in the chat with some emojis, guys. We love everything that Katie is doing for us and for advocating for military spouses, getting you guys hired at Intuit. The next person that we are bringing on is the one and only Arti. We are so excited to bring Arti on with us today. Actually, about 5 minutes before we went live, Arti dropped a bombshell on me. So, Arti, can you do me a favor? Can you do the overview of Intuit Academy for me? And then go right into that bombshell news that you dropped for me earlier.
Sure. Hey, everybody. My name is Arti Martinez. So happy to be here. I'm coming to you from the San Diego campus. Yes, so we are so excited to have this program for you. We now have a pathway for folks that are eager to join TurboTax Live or be a tax preparer, but maybe do not have, maybe you don't have the relevant work experience or the required work experience, and that's okay. So the pathway is a combination of 2 different programs. The first one that you'd enroll in is called Intuit Academy Tax Level 1. It's made up of 7 modules. Everything is self-paced, online, available to you on the internet. As long as you are in the United States, you'll have access to it. And the content is a combination of text. It's pretty engaging. It's text, videos, like different things that you can play around with, quizzes. And then from there, you have an exam. And once you pass that exam, you'll earn an Intuit Academy Tax Level 1 badge. And then after that, you will enroll into what's called the Tax Prep Program. Tax Prep Program is made up of 13 practice returns that you do need to complete in order to unlock. You'll complete one and then unlock and then go to the next one. And then you'll finish that program off as well with another exam. And once you earn that badge, then you will enter the funnel to be able to go through the interview process for a tax specialist role. So the exciting news that was mentioned is that the passing threshold right now was 90%. So typically someone would have to achieve a 90% in every single practice return before it would unlock the next one. And you'd also have to get a 90% or higher on the exam to earn the badge. As of last night, we have edited the passing threshold to be 80%, which is much more in line with the work that that person would be doing in the role. So now you just have to pass the practice returns with an 80% or higher in order for it to unlock the next one. And then similarly with the badge exam, it's an 80% or higher. And you'll be able to see how you're scoring within the program. So you'll know before you hit the submit button what your score is and where you might have some areas of opportunity to go back and update before you hit submit. So super, super excited. Really, this is actually perfect timing. This happened last night and we're all meeting today. So very excited to share this with you guys.
So you guys heard it here first from Arti. You guys are going to be able to pass with 80%, a little bit more in line with what you're going to be doing in your potential roles, right? This is probably going to be taking care of helping to account for some of the errors that are you said a little bit more of those small errors, right, Arti? That was what we were talking about, right? Not necessarily huge issues, but more of those little errors, small things that people are seeing, not necessarily something that's going to throw a whole tax return out the window. Could you go over a few of those small issues with us?
Yeah, sure. So it could be something like a typo or a space, right? So in the role, typically you are utilizing software and technology to help you prepare returns for clients. These are actually it's almost like paper and pencil on a form, right? This is going back old school, really having people do the research, understand the worksheet, know exactly how you get to these numbers. So sometimes it could be something, like I said, a decimal point, not rounding up. So it's not like you don't understand the full context of what you're doing. It's just a silly thing that's causing a blocker. So by updating the pass rate to 80%, it's still allowing people to go through, gain the knowledge and the practice from doing the return, but not blocking them if there's some sort of like random little thing that the software would catch anyway. So super excited about that.
Thank you so much. So for somebody who is getting ready to go through boot camp and somebody who is getting ready to go through their practice exams, what tips do you have for them to pass, to make sure that they're putting their best foot forward?
Yeah, so I'll break it down by both. So first, they'll start with the Tax Level 1 program. There is an exam study guide for the Tax Level 1 exam. So the tax level 1 exam covers a lot of information. It is open book and open notes. So just make sure you've got 3 hours at least to sit down in a quiet place, get all of your resources, and then go through, read the questions very carefully and submit your answers. But you've got the opportunity to research and look things up. Then on top of that, before you even attempt the exam, there are 5 practice exams for tax level 1. So take 1 or 2 or up to 5 if you want, but it'll get you comfortable with understanding how the questions are worded. It's a very unique format. So it's called a discrete option multiple choice. So it's good for you to get in there and take some of the practice exams to see how you're doing and just get comfortable with the feel of that. But once you earn your tax level 1 badge and you move into tax prep, couple things to say. There's also a tax prep exam guide there that's meant to help you with every single return. Read each return very carefully. We've had thousands of people go through this, so they are accurate, but like I said, you can make these tiny little mistakes and that's what's going to get you kind of stuck. So just make sure you read everything carefully. Make sure you use the worksheets as described. Use the guide that we've prepared for you. Use the links that we've given you. All of those links will take you to the right places that you need to go to in order to do the research to answer the question. And then go slow. Just make sure you're reading everything very carefully so that you understand what you're doing. And again, if something happens, you have 2 attempts at each exam. If you don't pass within the 2 attempts, you wait 15 days and you get 2 more attempts. So if it's October 8th today, you've got time to be able to do it if you get started now and you follow the syllabus. So don't get nervous, just use everything that you have in front of you and just read everything carefully.
I love that. Thank you so much, Arti. Intuit and VertForce are bringing you guys the tools and the resources to help you succeed. For more information on the tax prep program, you can check out Kimber's YouTube video, 2 courses to get #hired as a tax pro. I am sure our team is dropping that in the chat as we speak. Again, thank you so much, Arti. We are going to bring on James next, the lead recruiter at TurboTaxLive, to speak about the roles that they are currently hiring for. Welcome, James. Thank you so much for joining us. Why don't you go ahead and tell me a little bit about yourself and what is so exciting about this hiring season at TurboTaxLive?
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name's James Purefoy. This is my 4th year recruiting with TurboTaxLive. I'm a previous officer in the United States Army Field Artillery. I've got 10 years of active and reserve duty, and over 30 years of private and public sector experience in print, banking, and in nonprofit. Now let's talk about the positions that we have available. We are hiring primarily for 3 positions as we speak. Tax specialist, which is the entry-level role, where all of the role that most of you are interested in, where if you take the Intuit Academy and pass those 2 courses, will qualify you to be considered for those positions. The other 2 roles are the tax associate role, and the other one is the tax expert role. They both require 2 years of practical experience, paid practical experience. The only difference is the tax expert role requires you to be credentialed, meaning you either have a CPA, an enrolled agent or EA, or a practicing attorney's license. And in addition to what we mentioned earlier, we are looking to bring on 1,000 tax specialists for the December start date. I believe it's the December 13th start date. So we have a deadline set for the end of October for anyone who has successfully negotiated the Intuit Academy courses by the end of October. That'll give us a month to get you through the second half of the recruiting process.
I love that. Thank you so much. So, James, what about our candidates who are not ready to apply yet? What does the future look like for hiring for them for next year?
Well, there's always changes that can occur, but normally what happens after we fill all of our positions by the end of January, as recruiters, we go through what's called a keep warm process, which means we continue to recruit, not only for tax specialists, but for tax associates and tax experts. These individuals, we continue to recruit as if we're going to hire, but if they negotiate and are able to receive an offer, then we put them in what we call our keep warm bucket. And then when we start extending offers again for new hires come the June, July timeframe, those individuals are the ones that we call first. So that's the process that we have going on. And who knows, with the boot camp, there's nothing to say that you can't continue to take the courses and to continue to prepare for when we open back up. Sort of have like a slingshot effect and going into the next
Yeah.
season.
That's great advice. So what pointers would you give people who are wanting to apply, who are in boot camp or preparing to join boot camp?
What I hear a lot from a lot of the candidates that I speak to, a lot of people are our process is a two-phase process. There's the phone screen, and you get to the phone screen when you meet the requirements or you negotiate the Intuit Academy. Past the phone screen, then you go to what we call an online virtual interview. So it's a bifurcated process. So a lot of people are afraid of the virtual interview because they're just they feel nervous about having to speak with someone, but it's not a live interview. It's a tool that we use called HireView. And I tell everyone, don't think that you're interviewing. Look at it like you're on a video call with a customer and they're asking you these questions and you're presenting that information to you. So not only are we ascertaining what your tax knowledge is, but we want to see how well you can take the tax nomenclature and laws and rules and communicate it to customers. So there's a video portion of that as well. So don't look at it like it's an interview. Look at it like you're doing a job.
Okay, so it's sort of like real life experience to some degree.
Correct.
How would they react in a situation, in a scenario?
Correct. Yes. I mean, there is some questions where you are asked to, if you've ever taken a behavioral interview before, we want to see what examples you have in the past that will demonstrate that you can do what the job requires.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And James and Katie, you might be able to speak to this a little bit as well. We spoke about those 3 roles that TurboTax Live is hiring for. How many of our candidates that have gone through boot camp before are in the tax specialist or the associate role? Anybody in an EA role got hired into those roles? Can you give me a little bit of a breakdown?
That is a good question. Let me.
I'm sorry, I'm putting Katie on the spot.
I'm gonna say I think we've had a little bit of a mix actually. I want to say we've got at least one who is an EA and an enrolled agent, excuse me, and so she is a tax expert. And let's see, we've got 4 tax specialists, or 5 tax specialists, a tax associate, and then we have 2 tax experts from boot camp so far.
Awesome. I love that. I love that split. So if you are out there and you are listening, it is not just entry level. If you have tax experience, you can go and you can apply, join boot camp. Katie is there to advocate for you to get connected with James, with the Intuit team, and help you get #hired at Intuit Academy. So thank you again so much, James. It has been great to work with you this year and help our candidates on their journey to Intuit. We are dropping links in the chat. I know that we have questions coming through the chat as well. If you have a question that you want to ask live, feel free to raise your virtual Zoom hand. You can do that at the bottom of your screen under, I believe it's under reactions, maybe. Zoom doesn't update and it always throws me off. And then we'll call you on screen and get you live in front of the Intuit team so that you can ask your question. The first question that I see When are we going to be starting boot camp? Katie?
That's a me question. Boot camp is starting right now today. We'll have some boot campers that are still wrapping up from the September boot camp, but it does start today. The syllabus that is in the boot camp binder that you will find when you, there will be a recap email that goes out today with that link. And if you sign up for boot camp today, on the link that we just posted in the chat, you will also get an email with the link to the boot camp binder. And the syllabus has it starting today. And like we kind of mentioned, it's a bit of a condensed syllabus to try and help you through it a little bit faster. On that binder, you will also find the September syllabus that is in the traditional 4-week one that we've done. But if you're looking for getting it done now and getting hired to start in December, the October syllabus is for you to start today to have your application in by the end of the month.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Katie. And so along the same lines, Dorothy wants to know, do they need to finish Intuit Academy and the exams before they can apply? I'll let you take that, Katie.
Yes. Please, if you don't have previous tax experience, we really ask you to complete the Intuit Academy programs, both of those programs, before applying, because otherwise what's going to happen is you're going to go into their system, but you're not quite ready to meet the requirements. So it's a much smoother process if you finish the Intuit Academy courses, both of those courses first before you apply. And once you finish the courses on Intuit Academy, you'll take the tax level 1 exam. It'll unlock the tax prep program. Once you earn the tax prep badge, it'll unlock the opportunity for you to connect with a recruiter. It'll pop up for you on your Intuit Academy dashboard.
Awesome. So if you guys did not hear that, yes, please make sure you do Intuit Academy and the exams first to make sure that you pass and badge. Intuit Academy will automatically prompt you once you are prepared and ready to apply at the appropriate time. And then make sure that you email Katie. She's on that side of my screen. At resumes@workforce.us so that she can advocate for you and get you connected to James. Are the roles seasonal, James?
Yes, they are. They are seasonal. But there
Thank you.
are opportunities, what we call select time. Once you get your foot in the door, there might be a position that you can post for if you meet the requirements.
Right. And these roles are W-2, correct?
W-2 positions, correct.
Thank you. Ooh, here's a good one. Arti, Carmen wants to know, do the course exams expire once you take them?
That is a good question. So currently, the tax level 1 exam does expire 1 year after you have earned the badge. The tax prep badges do not expire. And this is current state. One thing I'll say, though, is if you do get hired, then you don't have to keep those badges active. So if you get hired into a tax specialist role, then that's great. You've done what you needed to do to enter the funnel. You don't have to keep that program active. But also, I do know that there's a lot of amazing changes coming next year. So programs will look a little bit different and will be a lot more targeted to specific skills that people may want to learn and achieve. So there'll be lots of opportunities for people to come back and refresh their skills in the next season.
Wonderful. Thank you. Now, is the exam similar to the VITA TCE volunteer program?
Is that for me?
I'm going to throw it out there and let whoever catches it, who thinks they've got that one.
Not me. I'm not super familiar. I know what the VITA program is. I'm not familiar with any coursework exams or programs that they have.
Maybe we can get some clarity. Tamoya, are you familiar, or do you have VITA experience as a volunteer, or did you go through like a VITA program for coursework? you have experience as a volunteer. Okay, then so maybe we can shift that to James. Would that qualify her for going down the applicant pathway with experience, or still going through Intuit Academy?
I would still recommend Intuit Academy, but the volunteer experience, there are pathways that I can provide for those that have volunteer experience. So I'd love to get that person's information.
Wonderful. Tamoya, I want you to email resumes@vertforce.us and connect with Katie. And
Also,
I hope I'm saying your name right. I'm sorry.
we have an episode, I think, with Rachel, who
so.
we could send that to Tamoya too, because it might be helpful for her, because she discusses what Vida was like and how it helped her with Intuit. But yeah, I'm gonna agree with Michelle. Michelle said in the comment here that this program is really great because you don't have to quantify work experience if you go through Intuit Academy. It kind of like erases it. It qualifies you through your aptitude and capabilities.
Thank you. Thank you. That was a group effort, but I think we got it. Thank you so much. We have a question from Laura. If we sign up for bootcamp today, should we also enroll in tax level 1 in Intuit Academy today? Katie.
Yes, yes, you should, Laura. So once you sign up for boot camp, that puts you in my ballpark, right? So that's how you're going to get email notifications and reminders for events. That's how you're going to get access to the study materials and the resource guides and the WhatsApp group. But you will also need to enroll in the Intuit Tax Level 1 program, because you will go through that. It's a self-paced program, so you can do that on your own time. We are here to support you as you go along through the course, if that makes sense.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, I'm looking for questions. Does anybody have a question that we did not hit so far? Thank you, Michelle. Michelle did just drop the conversation with Rachel about her Vida experience in the chat, if you would like to check that out. Alyssa asks, she wants to verify that the roles are remote and not hybrid. Yes, Alyssa, these roles are in fact remote. Sorry, guys. I think I'm all caught up. We are dropping some more links in the chat. Sarana, do I need to have a citizenship to get hired, or just a green card is enough? So green card would be authorization to work for any U.S. employer, correct?
That's correct.
James, would that qualify her? Or she would need to still go through, of course, the boot camp, and
Correct.
she would still have to go through all of the badging and the passing and the application process, but you do qualify for that process in boot camp, of course.
That's
Sarana.
correct.
You're welcome. Taya, so after you pass the exam and badge for tax level 1 and tax prep, if you are coming in green, you don't have any prior background in tax, James, coming in, you would do the tax associate, correct?
Tax specialist.
Tax specialist, my
Tax
apologies.
specialist.
Tax specialist.
Now, Felicia, and I know we talk about this every time we have one of these sessions, but I also need to make sure that people understand, even for tax specialist roles, if there are 6 states in the United States that have special requirements, and you all may share that with the boot campers, and you have to meet those state requirements before you can work with us. So like California, I believe, California, Oregon, Nevada, New York, Maryland, and Connecticut. There are 6 states. You have to meet if you're going to be living in one of those states, you need to find out what the requirements are, meet those requirements, and then meet our requirements.
Correct. And we still do recommend going through the boot camp,
Correct.
doing Intuit Academy, doing the tax prep program, doing all of this simultaneously, going through your state's website and resources, looking for, okay, what else do I have to pass? Do I have to take an additional exam or certification? Do I have to register somewhere or do some additional form? Each state is different, as James listed, and Katie did drop those 6 states in the chat. They are, I believe, on our syllabus of resources as well, notated for everybody to be able to reference back to as well. Are the roles CONUS or a CONUS as well? So you do have to be within the United States. So you have to be in one of these states. So I kind of want to say continental because it's a continental plus AK and Hawaii. So I can't say CONUS or a CONUS. It's a double-edged sword there, Carmen. So you do have to be in one of these states. You're welcome. Yes, Rachel, there is a way to alert the staff that you are coming through VertForce as a milspouse, and her name is Katie. So if you go through the boot camp, you finish Intuit Academy, and complete your exams, and you pass, you will be prompted to apply through the Intuit Academy platform itself. At that time, we want you to email Katie, resumes@vertforce.us. She will add you to her list and let James know and his team that you are applying and in their applicant pool. That's totally fine. Thank you. That's a new question, Carmen. So, James, is there any issue with applicants being dual citizens, having dual citizenship with another country?
That is a good question. I would say as long as they're a citizen of the United States, they should be okay, but I will verify that.
Thank you. And then we will be able to add that to our resources and our information going forward. Thank you so much, Carmen. Right. Have I missed anything? Have I missed anyone? What other questions? Does anyone have any information they want to share that has popped up? Arti, James? Feeling pretty good. Sorry, my earbuds popping out. I currently live in New York, but I'm still considered a resident of Ohio. Does that cause any issue with certification? So I believe employment is based on where you reside, correct? So if that is, New York is one of the 6 states, so you would have to look into the state of New York to see what additional certification requirements the state requires.
Correct.
In addition to Intuit. Oh, I'm so glad, Dorothy. I hope to see you at boot camp. Laura, did that answer your question? Oh. Oh, here's a question. Does an accounting internship count towards the paid experience?
No, it doesn't.
It has to be tax
Has to be
specific,
tax.
correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So unless your accounting internship, you were doing taxes, it wouldn't count. Right?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. And James, this one's for you as well. So if you worked at Intuit in the past, does that expedite the hiring process?
If you've worked with us in the past, you're what we consider a rehire, reapply. So you'll still have to go through the whole recruiting process, the phone screen and the hire view. But at least you, depending on how recent it was, you should understand the lay of the land. You've navigated it before, so it should be easier.
Wonderful, thank you. And you do still have to have experience. So I believe tax experience needs to be within the last how many years, James?
Well, it used to
Sticky
be
wicket.
it used to be within it used to be within a certain period of time, but now we're looking at people as long as it's not as far back you were preparing taxes with pencil and paper. But
Okay.
if you have experience in within the past, I don't know, 5 to 10 years,
Okay.
on the personal side, on the personal tax preparation side, we will consider you.
Awesome. That's even better. Thank you so much. Artie, this is a question for you. How will the new pass rates affect people who have already taken the exam and did not pass at that time?
It's a great question. At this point, I would just recommend go back in and take the exam. That will be the fastest way for you to get through. I don't believe that there's going to be a way for us to backtrack and issue badges. We were trying to figure that out last night, but I don't think that's going to be possible. So I would just recommend go back in, take the test, pass it at 80% or higher, and then that'll get you right into the funnel and not
Right.
cause any delays.
It's going to take way too
Especially,
long.
yeah. And the other thing is too, the exams used to be 2 returns and now it's only 1. So even if somebody passed at an 80%, we would want them to go through, take the 1 return that is really now truly the exam and pass that at an 80% or higher.
And the retest period is, you
15
have 2
days.
attempts within 15 days, right? You have to wait 15 days before you can retest. Perfect.
Yep.
And if you guys are running into any issues, you are having an error message thrown on your Intuit Academy exam, something's coming up, make sure you're enrolled in boot camp. You can send Katie an email. She will give you a tech support form that we have, and she'll get you connected and we'll get that all squared away for you. Yes, please sign up for boot camp at the link provided. It is really a fun experience, and you learn a lot, but it's worth it for sure. I've learned a lot about my own taxes, and the only person I'm doing them for is myself, but it is great information. I'm checking my chat here. My team is dropping in some questions that are coming through. So James, can you tell me a little bit about a day in the life of a typical TurboTaxLive specialist? What types of things do they do? Oh, James, I think we lost your audio.
Sorry about that. I was on mute.
That's okay.
The purpose of the tax specialist role are for people. This is a brand new endeavor for that individual. You've passed the Intuit Academy, so we know what you know as far as tax wise, because you've gone through our training. So the purpose of it is for you to come in and start getting your feet wet and preparing taxes as if you're a tax associate, but you'll have people who will work with you and look over your shoulders and to help nurture you along the way. Then after a year or two, once your confidence is there, then you can be move to a regular tax associate role. So that's the primary role. Now, the way it works, uh, I've never done the job, but this is what I've been told. You know, we have something called tax prep assistance. So anybody who wants to use TurboTax Live as a service, they access the network, they sign up for the service, and they're met at the virtual door. I call them the virtual concierge, and they'll explain the TurboTax Live service to the taxpayer. They sign up for it. They'll gather all their information. They'll compile notes. They'll put it in a file, and they'll put it up in a virtual queue. And then they get parceled out to the tax specialist or the tax associate or the tax experts. And those individuals will get that information, and then they'll work with those clients. So our online hours of operation during the tax season is 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to midnight. So we have tax preparers that are manning those hours during the tax season, and it's on a first come first served basis. And that's one reason, as recruiters, we push people to complete the Intuit Academy, to get your hire view completed fast. Don't sit back and dawdle and wait to the last minute, because while you're waiting, start dates are filling up and hours are being taken, and you may not be able to get the hours that you want to work. Anyway, so you're logged in during the hours that you want to work. You have to work, schedule and work a minimum of 20 hours per week, except during the peak periods. We have a peak period where the business unit expects all tax preparers to schedule and work a minimum of 35 hours during that peak period. So while you're logged in during the hours that you select, we don't tell you the days you have to work. We don't tell you the hours you have to work. You select it around any other job you may have or any personal responsibilities that you have. So when you're logged in for the hours that you pick, the 20 hours or more, and when you select a shift, it has to be at least a 4-hour block of time or more. And while you're logged in saying you're available, that client will pop into your queue, and that's the job that you'll work until you work it to completion, and then you come back and say, hey, and now I'm back available again. So, and it could be you must be available to answer tax related questions, because we have services where people are preparing their own tax returns. So you're either answering questions or providing tax advice, or you're actually preparing returns, doing everything from A to Z, signing off on them and filing them on behalf of the client. So that's how your day can go at any given period. Now, it could be various different scenarios. It could be different levels of difficulty of return. Some could be more complex than others. When it gets to that point, you start talking the business unit. I presume they have procedures on how they dole those out. But on any given day, that's what you can expect.
Great explanation, James. I love that. Thank you so much. You hit so many questions that we do typically get asked, right? What are the hours like? How do we schedule? What's the flexibility there? Can I pick up my kids? Can I not pick up my kids? Thank you so much for hitting all of those things. Stephanie is asking, what dates are considered peak season for TurboTax?
Right now, we're for peak, we consider there's a period in April. You know, you have usually it's the beginning of the tax season or the end of the tax season. People trying to get their returns early and people trying to beat the tax deadline.
Yeah.
But right now, there's like a week period that we recognize in April, and then there's the expectation that you work at least 6 hours the last day of the filing season. So it's usually that week leading up to the tax deadline. But those are tentative dates. Those are established by the business unit, but it depends on the volume and how things are working. But tentatively, it's that week period in April.
No, that makes sense. Thank you so much. And then do TurboTax employees get a discount on their own taxes?
Sure.
Is that a perk?
Yeah, I get a free copy of
so.
I get a free copy of a software every year, and so do tax preparers. Anybody that works with us, not only do you get not only you're eligible for 401k and matching, you're eligible for free copies of the commercial, not free copy, but discounted versions of the commercial software that TurboTax has, the QuickBooks, the Pro series, and you get a free copy each year of the consumer version of TurboTax Live. And there's some other benefits that are out there as well.
I love that. Thank you. So everybody coming in, they have to work a minimum of 20 hours outside of peak hours. Can they work a maximum is there a maximum? Is there a cap?
I've had tax preparers tell me they've worked over 40 hours. Some tell me during the peak periods they've worked 50 or 60 hours. It depends on if the hours are available for when you want to work. So, and it's also on a first come, first served basis. So, um, uh, so pass the Intuit Academy, get hired so you can get in there and get your onboarding done so you can select your days and times that you want to work.
Wonderful. Thank you. And then Carmen asks, are you allowed to speak to customers in their native language, or is it strictly English if you also speak that language?
I'm sure we hire for English tax. Everybody who works for us has to be able to speak English, but we also primarily hire for bilingual Spanish speakers because that's the second largest language in the United States. Now, if you're fluent in French and you're speaking to someone who needs to speak to a French speaker, I'm sure it would be okay for you to speak to them in that language. But if you get someone that's a Spanish speaker, we usually try to route that person to a tax preparer that's fluent in Spanish and can converse about taxes in Spanish.
Right. Thank you. That makes sense. Thank you so much. We have about 5 minutes left. If you have any additional questions, make sure you guys are dropping those in the chat. My team is getting ready to drop a whole bunch of links for you that we have been referencing throughout this event back in the chat, as well as our coffee form. We're going to go ahead and drop that in the chat as well. We have really enjoyed our conversation today. I know it was a little bit more intimate today. There's a lot going on in the world. We want to make sure that we don't ignore the fact that there is a lot of devastation in the Southeast going on right now. So for everybody who is there, we are thinking of you. Please stay safe. We will send this out for recap because we know a lot of you wanted to see this. Please watch it at your leisure when you get the chance. If you have any additional questions, do not hesitate to reach out. resumes@vertforce.us. We cannot wait to join and run bootcamp with you again. This is your last chance to get #hired into one of these 1,000 tax pro roles in 2024. Don't miss out. All right, you guys, I hope you all have a wonderful day. We will let you go if you have no other questions. I'm going to scan the chat really quick, make sure I didn't miss anything. Invitations. I don't think I see any other questions. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Thank you guys again for being so amazing. Have a good day.